Welcome to Learn with Lili. Today we are starting with your Long Man New Images, a comprehensive course in English for Class 4, Chapter 5. And the name of the chapter is A Pocket Full of Music. Word focus. Interest. It is an abstract noun that means to give or having curiosity in something which generates ideas or excitement. And cross-connect. In finance and economics, interest is an additional value that one gets with their deposited money. Now let's read the chapter. Ish, shoo, choo, whooshed the tiny brook in the dead of night. Ribbit, caro caro. A dozen frogs went splish-splash in the puddle. To the pitter-patter of the gentle rain, the coal sang. Cuckoo! Cuckoo! Bijou could not sit still any longer. What fantastic music was coming from the singing forest! He pulled out the morsing from his wet pocket and joined the orchestra. Tee-tee, ringa-danga, twang, twang. His fingers and tongue moved in rhythm, and the sound from the morsing blended happily with the life all around. Next to him, seated on the wide branch of a tamarind tree, his twin brother, Bijou, was snoring away. Both the boys were tired, but Bijou's fingers itched to play the morsing. He loved to play the morsing, be it day or night. What were the boys doing up the tree in the dead of night? To cut a long story short, their mother, Rangiamma, had fallen ill on her visit to their old grandmother, who lived on the other side of the forest. Both the boys wanted to see their mother immediately when they heard the news of her illness. But how to go? Bhagirathi, or Bhagiathai, as they called their aunt, would not let them escape from her side even for a minute, and to ask for permission forgot it. Bhagiathai was stricter than any policeman or teacher they knew. She might have even locked them up in the barn to prevent them from running away. They came up with a clever plan. So here word meaning whooshed, moved with a rushing sound. Morsing, a musical instrument similar to the Jew's harp. It is mainly used in Rajasthan and South India. Orchestra, musicians playing different instruments. Itched here means felt restless. The sun was going down, and the sky was a brilliant purple and orange. It was fast growing dark. Bhagiathai got busy with her evening routine. She lit a lamp and placed it near the tulsi plant and herded all the cattle and shut them in their sheds. The boys cleaned up the courtyard and washed their hands and feet in readiness for dinner. Bijou was humming a tune and even began to play a morsing as he would do in the evening time. They were on their best behavior and pretended that everything was normal. Suddenly, a loud crackle and thud defended their ears. What was that? Shrieked Bhagirathi as she ran to the front of the house towards the road. At lightning speed, 4 feet escaped from the backyard towards the forest. Puff, puff, tut, tut. Their hearts thumped in fear and speed. Soon the forest grew silent, and they knew that Bhagiathai was not in hot pursuit. They slackened their pace and burst into wild giggles. Bitju and Vidju were 9 years old, and they looked alike. Teachers and even friends often got confused as to who was who, but they were poles apart when it came to interests and talents. Bitju was very good at music. He could sing any song if he heard it once, but his love for the morsing was more than that. Herded means gathered the animals. Shrieked means uttered a loud cry. Hot pursuit means trying hard to catch someone, and slackened means slowed down. His grandfather had been a famous morsing player. No one else in the family had anything to do with the morsing until Bitju, at the age of 4, found it lying in a box and started to play it without having to be taught. He loved the exciting sounds that would twang from it, and he always carried the morsing in his pocket. Vidju was tone deaf when it came to music. He had no interest in it. Instead, numbers made his world, and he was never tired of working out maths problems or doing mental maths. He was famous at his school as a maths wizard. Interestingly, Bitju had a phobia of maths. He would even go down with a high fever a day before the maths exam. Bitju often mocked Bitju for his maths phobia. Most people in the family thought that Bitju was gifted because of his maths talent. Music talent seemed too common, and no one praised Bitju as much. So, when Bitju and Vidju started treading through the darkening forest, their differences showed up. Bitju loved animals and birds and was walking in a relaxed way, observing nature all around and even humming a tune. Vidju was scared of anything that was unforced. He walked fearfully behind Bitju and kept telling him to walk fast so that they could reach their grandmother's home soon. All of a sudden, it started to rain very heavily, and neither carried an umbrella. They were drenched, and having skipped dinner, were getting very hungry. Bitju suddenly stopped and said, "Look, a big tamarind tree. Come, let's climb up and sit here until the rain stops." Bitju said, "No, I don't like to climb." Bitju persisted. "There is no other way. Come, let me help you." Saying so, he quickly started climbing up the tree. Word meanings: twang, to make a strong ringing sound. Tone deaf, being unable to hear. Phobia, an extreme or irrational fear. Treading, walking in a specified way. Drenched, completely soaked in water. Persisted, continued in spite of opposition. Balancing himself on a low branch, Bitju helped his brother up. Soon both boys sat on a long shady branch and waited for the rain to stop. But it continued to rain, and it was dark, wet, and scary. In fear and exhaustion, Bitju fell asleep, but Bitju was wide awake, hearing the forest and speaking to it with his music, twang twang, dinga dinga twang. Suddenly, from somewhere down, Bitju heard a deep voice ask, "Who is that upon the tree?" Bitju was afraid to answer. Had his aunt sent someone? He stopped playing the morsing and froze. The voice was quiet for a while. Then it said, "I heard someone twanging the morsing. I know the instrument. Who is that? Come down. I am the range forest officer." The next thing Bitju saw was the bright glare of the torch that hit his face. "Aha! One young boy. Did you run away from home?" The searching light paused on Bitju, who woke with a start. "Another boy. What's going on? Come down quickly before the leopard catches you." At the mention of the leopard, Bitju jumped down and Bitju followed. Exhaustion means the state of being tired. Range forest officer, an officer in charge of a forest, and glare here means very bright and uncomfortable light. "Come, I will take you to a safe place first. Where are you coming from and where are you going?" Holding the two boys firmly, one on either side, the ranger in uniform led the way through the dark forest. There was a deadly silence. The mention of the leopard was terrifying. After walking some 20 minutes, they reached a small forest office. The ranger pushed the boys through the door and quickly shut it tight. "There are leopards on those trees. On the tree you were sitting too. You are lucky the leopards were somewhere else at that time, and you escaped becoming their dinner," said the ranger with a sigh of relief. He gave the boys some simple kanji, rice broth, and pickle to eat and questioned them. He gave them a good scolding for trying to cross the forest at night. Then he looked at them with a smile and said, "I too was naughty at your age, but trying to go through a forest after sunset is foolish. Don't ever do it again. Now get some sleep. I will take you to your grandmother's place at the crack of dawn when it is more safe," he said with a twinkle in his eyes. Both the boys slept peacefully, knowing that they were safe now. They woke up with the sheer excitement of reuniting with their mother. They left the forest office and reached their grandmother's place by the afternoon. The whole place was buzzing with the story of Bitju and Bitju's escape and how the morsing had come to their rescue. Bitju could not believe his ears when Bitju patted him on his shoulder and said, "Bitju, it is your music that saved us. I really wish I could play the morsing like you. And I wish I could solve maths problems like you. Maybe we can help each other out," said Bitju. "Sounds like a plan," said Bitju with a smile, "and a good one too." And the author is Vasanti Vasudev. Now about the author. Vasanti Vasudev, the author of this book, has written this story. She has more than 3 decades of experience in education. She is also a poet and an artist. Writing stories for children is her favorite hobby. Now read and answer. A1. Choose the correct options to answer these questions. Put a tick mark. 1. Which instrument did Bitju play? Marsi. 2. What was the name of the boy's mother? Virangiamma. 3. Who was stricter than any policeman or teacher? Bhagyatai. What kind of phobia did Bitju have? Phobia of maths. 5. Who came to the boy's rescue? The range forest officer. Answer the questions and think and answer. We'll refer to the notebook. Now here. Word world. Read this sentence. Suddenly, a loud crackle and thud defended their ears. In this above sentence, the sounds created by crackers have been described. These highlighting words create a sound effect. This is called onomatopoeia. It refers to the use of words that are pronounced like the sounds they represent. Now, identify or underline the onomatopoeia word in these sentences. 1. The wooden floor creaked when the thief walked on it. Creaked. 2. The bee was buzzing. Buzzing. 3. The snake raised its head and hissed. Hissed. 4. The dish fell with a clatter. Clatter. 5. The tires screeched when he pressed the brakes. Screeched. And in the next page, language ladder, it is about participles. Read these sentences. The boys are going in the forest. Both the boys wanted to see their mother immediately. The highlighted words are derived from verbs and are functioning as verbs. They are called participles. A present participle ends in ing and represent an action as ongoing or incomplete. For example, she is waiting for her brother. Sometimes these can be used as verbs and adjectives. My brother is cooking. The man had shining hair and a glowing face. A past participle usually ends in ed, d, t, en, or n and represents a completed action. For example, Sanya completed her assignment yesterday. Sometimes these can be used as adjectives. The boy was overjoyed. My aunt was surprised. Now, complete these sentences using the participle forms of the verbs in brackets. Number 1. I was standing on the stairs when she called. 2. The man is polishing the table. 3. They are eating their meal in silence. 4. The boys played football in the park yesterday. 5. My sister was excited for her birthday. And 6. Shreya is interested in dancing. Now the question and answers. Question number 1. What were the boys doing up a tree in the dead of night? Answer. In the dead of night, the boys climbed up a tamarind tree. Bitju was sleeping, but Bitju was hearing the sound and playing morsing. Number 2. What had happened to the boy's mother? The boy's mother had fallen ill on her visit to their grandmother. 3. What did the boys do to meet their mother? The boys planned to run away without informing Bhagirathi to meet their mother. Number 4. What did the range officer do on hearing the sound of morsing? On hearing the sound of morsing, the range forest officer asked who was there on that tree. 5. How did Bitju's music save the boy's life? Bitju was playing morsing. After listening to that music, the range forest officer came and took them to his office. Hence, Bitju's music helped in saving their lives. Number 6. Comment on the title of the story. How appropriate is it? I think the title, A Pocket Full of Music, is correct because the main character is Bitju and Bitju always kept his morsing in his pocket. So, Bitju's pocket was very important to keep the morsing in it. Otherwise, Bitju would have lost the morsing and the boys would have been eaten by leopards. Think and answer. Number 1. Who were the two brothers? How were the two brothers different from each other? Share your thoughts with the class. Bijju was good at playing Marsing, whereas Viju was expert in solving math problems. Bijju was not scared in the forest, but Viju was scared in the forest. Bijju was not good at climbing up trees, whereas Bijju helped him to climb up the tamarind tree. Bijju had a phobia of math, whereas Viju was an expert at math. So if you enjoyed my video, please do like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. God bless you all.